Hello everyone, Angela again here today. Welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all well. It's really windy here today, so I hope there aren't too many distractions while I'm trying to record this video for you. Now today, I have created this exciting envelope, number 15. And I love this one. And what I've used are papers I haven't used before from Chapter 1. Now, Chapter 1 are a fairly new company, which I've sort of fallen in love with when I started using their little labels. You remember some of these, and stamps that I used in some of my other videos. And then I went back there and had a look at some of the beautiful pages they do, and they have some really stunning kits. So this is one of the ones I'm going to use today, which is Shabby Rose. So I'm going to show you what I've made with that, and then I'll show you the papers and what you need to do to create this along with me. Okay, so first of all, this is an envelope. That's a surprise. And what I've done is I have folded it in half. So I'll give you the details in a minute. Then we have the front page here. We have a butterfly through an acetate window, which is double-sided. So I've got that. I've put some fussy cut flowers on here, stitched around it, made a little cluster, a little bit of a tag, and I don't know why, but for some reason I decided to put a little bit of a binding on there. I think my reasoning was, when I was making this and sort of thinking through my process, that in fact you could use this to make small journal covers, and this would make a beautiful cover. I love that if I lift this up, that you can actually see through some of the goodies that are behind there. You could use this as a little booklet within your journal. So there are many options depending on what you choose to do with it. So that's what I've done there, and that's the front. When I open that up, you can see the other side of the butterfly. So I mirror imaged that so that it would fit perfectly. And then on this side, I've just made a little pocket and a little tag to go in that. And I will say that with all the pages that I used 2 sheets of paper, and I printed on both sides. There wasn't a little scrap left at the end. Sorry, nothing at all. I used everything, and I'll show you how I did that, which was great because I didn't want to add to the scrap pile, so I worked it accordingly, and I really liked how it turned out. So there we go. So we've got that little pocket there, and then if you turn it to the back, I've used some of the paper to make another little envelope, an easy one, so you'll be glad to know. And then I've just put in 2 pieces of ephemera in there, so just 2 of the pieces that come from the kit, and those go and tuck in there. And then in the side of the pocket here, I have also, because it is an envelope and it had a pocket, I've just made a journaling card that you can journal on the back. And I'm happy to announce that I have a whale tail Stampin' Up punch now. And let me tell you, when I won that auction, I did a little rain dance because I've wanted one forever. And luckily, I got it. So I'm thrilled. Dear Carol, you don't need to worry about cutting me out whale tail tabs. Bless your heart. All right, so there we go. That's the little project that we're going to do today. Now, you could add pages in here and make it into a booklet. You could do whatever you like, have it as a little ephemera storage folder for going in your journals. It's not very thick. Even though I've put some ruffle on the back there, it's not very thick. So you could easily just tuck that into your journal, send it as an extra, send it as a happy mail. The list is endless. So you could make this into a little journal yourself, and bind in a little signature in there as well, and put a closure on it. So you could do so many things with this, and I love this. This is one of my favorites, and I'm in love with this kit as well. All right, so let me show you quickly the pages that I used for that. So I'll just put that aside for a minute. As I said to you, these are from chapter 1. I hope that that's in frame. On this side, you've got these beautiful pink hydrangeas, and I do love hydrangeas, and I love pink. And they are collaged, and beautiful butterflies, just to die for. Love that page. And then on the other side, I have printed this collaged page, which has got beautiful, like a French frame. It's just so pretty. I love this. So this I'm going to use. And then on this side, also from the kit, I've used this beautiful pink. It looks like it's got mixed media type look on it. So there's that on the one side, and then this beautiful, looks like, I think, a coffee stained doily type lacy pattern, which I really loved. So these are the 2 pages that I've chosen to use for the project today. And as I said, when I was done, there wasn't a scrap in sight. I've used the lot, and I'll show you how I did that. Now, I used some journaling cards, which also are part of that kit. I've used these journaling cards. I've used these 2 bits from the sheet as well. So that is just another part. There are many pages to this kit. I have not printed it all out. I did print these because I just love these. This is some of the tags that were in there, and the images and the clarity, and wow. I just love these. These would look good just on their own. Not much to do at all. I just love it. This is just beautiful. I can see me using this a lot. Right, so that was just a little share of chapter 1 papers. There you go, if you want to have a look. They are to be found on Etsy, and I will have the link for this kit down below. Go and have a look. They've got beautiful tulip kits. They've got blue butterfly and peacock kits. They've got gorgeous kits, French ones, all sorts. Go and feast your eyes. All right, so that's the papers. Now on the envelope size, this is the envelope that I used. And to give you some measurements, it is a 9-inch by nearly just short of 6.5. Now, I ordered these in error. I thought I was getting the ones that are half the size, the C6, but no, I went and ordered these, and I've got 100 of these, and it wasn't the size I wanted. So I had to come up with a plan on how to use them, because I can't, you know, have them standing around. So this is hence what we've got today, which is fine. So the first thing I did was to glue down this flap, because we're not going to need that. So just going to run a bead of glue there like that. And I'm going to seal that down. Now I'm not in my craft room today. I'm sitting downstairs where I used to craft at my dining room table, because my daughter is busy with college work upstairs. So she makes too much noise. And then I get cross, or frustrated's the word. All right, so we've stuck that down, and now what we want to do is we want to fold this in half. And I've left the bone folder upstairs, so we'll have to use something else. So I'm just using my fingers just to match those 2 sides up. There we go, like that. And you can just use your scissors to get that sorted, or even the handles, even your ruler. So there are many ways to skin a cat. Okay, so there we go. Okay, so got a hold of my craft knife, and we just want to take a thin sliver off each side here. Now we're only going to put a journal card in the one side, but in order to fit in your acetate for the butterfly, you're going to need access to this. You can glue it afterwards, or you know how I like my sewing, so I will stitch at the end. Okay, so there we have it. we've taken off that. So you've got your opening for your journal card here, and the opening that we're going to need to put in our butterfly thingy, this. All right, so first things first. So we're going to do the front, and what I did was open that up like that, and then, sorry, I'm going to grab, these are the scraps after I have cut out the various bits. So I'll show you quickly what I did, so you know. Where's the other sheet? Okay, so first of all, for the side panels on the inside here, the inside bits, these bits here, I cut those both, as you can see, from that section and then straight after from that section. The rest of the stuff, I kept it, and I will show you this bit over here. I then cut out from another scrap. Okay, then what I did was, and I cut all these bits out first, and then what was left, I made up the front. All right, then what I did was I cut out using this side here. I cut out from here. I measured out a piece to fit just inside the width of the envelope. And then I just worked out how deep it needed to be. And then I worked out where that needed to be cut off, and I cut that off. So that was the other bit, and I had these bits remaining. Now the bits that were remaining, then I turned this over because it is double-sided, and I was able then to use this bit over here for the pocket. Okay, so that left me with some other strips. Once I've done all of that, and here you have it, I've got that there, I've got the two inside bits, and I've got this piece which is for the envelope. Now I'll measure this for you so you know. This was 6 1/4 by just over 8 3/4. So you're looking at 22.5 centimeters by 16. Okay, so that's for the envelope at the back. So I'll put that to the side. Now once I'd cut out those bits, I was then left with this lot over here. I cut out the tab, as you can see, for the journal card, and now these are the remaining scraps. That is it. What I did was then, I then took this and decided, right, this needs to be used, and use it I did. So between the front and the tag, that's what I used to, and there was nothing remaining afterwards, which was fabulous because I don't need to add to the scrap pile, and I'm sure none of you do either. I've managed to get hold of my bone folder. Right, so what I did was I decided that I liked this piece because that was the first scrap, and I wanted to put that down at the bottom here. Now don't worry that it's not going to cover this bit here. As you know, I am putting on a piece of fabric over there, which I just thought added some prettiness to it. All right, so that's I want that over there. And then what I had was, I had this piece over here, and I thought, oh, I really like that. That's really pretty. How far can we stick that down? So that was that bit. And then I thought, well, we've got this nice pink bit here. We've got the pale bit there. Let's add some of each of those. And so I did just that. So it's just a case of tearing a piece off like that. And I didn't want that over there, so just took that off. I'm going to stick that right over there. Not worried about that. Oh, going to need to take that bit off a bit. I think that would work. No, I need to take this bit off. And there we go. And then the last little bit that I fancied putting on was a little bit of this over here. So I thought, right, I'm just going to put a bit of this. Let's measure the width. So we got that there. We're going to take that off right there and use that there. Okay, so that's perfect. And then what I would do is just take a little bit off this side. So this is a great way if you're trying to cut back on your scraps and not add to the pile. This is a great way to make you think harder on how you could utilize something and still make something really pretty. Some of the best things I've ever made are more in my own estimation. So yeah, like somebody said to me once, opinion of one, are things I've made out of recycled or scrapped items. So, you know, toilet roll holders and all sorts, repurposed mailers, all sorts of things. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do, and I'm going to stick that all down. Now you can see already I've got very little left over. What I did see not tell you is that off the bottom of this I did cut off a piece that was over that I cut for the tag. So we are down to just these bits over here now. All right, so that's where we are at the moment. So let's do this quickly. I'm going to stick all of this down, and depending how boring I am, I'll either be chatting with you or fast forwarding this. All right, so I'm just going to, not going to do too much of this because a lot of it will be covered on that side. So I'm really just doing the sides that aren't going to be covered, and that will be that. A lot of this will be cut off because I will go and run it through my die cut machine. Now when I'm talking about the die cut, which is the hole that I made in the middle, you can use any shape you have. I've used the scalloped circle. You can use a circle, a square, you can use a plaque shape, you can use whatever you have. And, you know, be exciting, try something different that you have, or even if you've got a balloon shape, it doesn't matter. You know, trying new things is fun. I shock myself all the time. Okay, now before I stick this down, just a little tip is work on the order you need to stick it down. So this needs to be on the top. So this one I'm going to do last, and those first, second and third, because we can I get myself in a situation with gluing sometimes. Yeah, as you do. Right, so I'm not going to be too worried about going too much to the edges because, as I said, I will be stitching this. But if you are not going to stitch this, which you don't have to, then just make sure you use a decent glue that's going to hold it down really well. So that's my little tip there. And you can also put a lot of different pieces of ephemera in here as well. I've just done the basics, which I've just put in one tag. You could make more than that, you know, you really could. You could do some other bits and bobs, and I've seen people doing the most amazing things lately with scraps. So, you know, the sky's the limit with this. We have a nice bank holiday weekend here this weekend. So I'm looking forward to that. And hopefully we are going to have some more crafty videos going ahead. And I need to catch up on my watching. I've seen so many gorgeous journals and people making such beautiful things. Just amazing. It never ceases to amaze me that people still come up with ideas I've never seen before, you know. It's just amazing. Love it. So inspiring. Okay, so there we go. We've got that all down like that. So I'm quite happy with that. Now, before we can actually go and make our die cut in the middle here, you need to stick on this page here. So because that needs to line up. So I've put it somewhere. Here it is. So we'll do that quickly. We will stick those on. Just want to make sure that there's no writing. I think that one's got to go that way, and this one has got to go this way. So I'm just going to stick both of these down, and again have a little chat while I do this ever so briefly. I don't know what happened to the beautiful weather. We are having a very windy day today. My poor tree that houses my bird seed, I thought it was going to blow away. The whole tree, which is probably 3 meters high, was taking major strain this morning, and the poor little birds were not looking very happy. So poor souls. I can hear them cheeping very loudly there. Bird seeds flown all over the place. They're now in the grass. Luckily I mowed it. Looking for all the seed that's now dispersed all over the place. Oh my goodness. Right. Okay. This one will get an edge stitching, as I said, so I'm not overly worried about gluing to the edge, but the other one won't, because this is the front. I'm making sure that I, you know, give it a nice finish. Right, so I've got that one stuck down, and now it's just this one. Okay, so we'll glue that. I'm going to make sure that I do a proper job of this. Don't like things lifting. Okay. So is anybody doing anything fun? The bank holiday, long weekend. We're also supposed to have the schools going back soon, which is after next week's half-term school holidays, but I don't know how many people's children are actually going to go back, because it's a big contentious thing here in the UK at the moment, which I'm sure it must be all over. Parents aren't very happy, teachers aren't very happy. Imagine trying to keep 4-year-olds in a 2-meter area, you know. I don't know how much teaching, just me being a teacher, I know that that will become a classroom management job, not a teaching job at all. Never mind your safety and everybody else. And I was reading something on Facebook about it, and it made going back to school sound like prison. So I don't know how much enjoyment's going to be had for children anyway. Anyway, right, moving on and back to this. We have stuck that all down. I'm not going to do anything further until I've actually sorted out this die cut area right over here. So I will be back with you in a minute. All right, so I have cut out the shape in the middle, and there you can see you get this lovely bit that you can use. If you stitch around there, that would make a nice little tag, and put a little eyelet and a bow and a few bits and bobs on there. It could be really nice to use. Okay, so there we've done that. As you can see, it's slightly over to the right hand side, so that's because I'm going to put on a little bit of a thin fabric binding, not binding, like a edging over there. So I've just moved it ever so slightly over. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to do this middle bit over here. So what I did was I took some acetate, which is this clear stuff you get from packaging, or you can get it on a roll. Often it's used to put collars on cakes. So I've got some here, and really you need a piece to cover this area twice. So I'm just going to cut that in half like that, very roughly. It doesn't matter, as long as both of these are going to cover that area, we are all right. Okay, now take one away and leave it on the spot that you have here, and this is just to make sure that you're not going to glue in the wrong place. And then what I did was I cut out 2 butterflies, but they are mirror images of each other. And why I say that is because the body at the bottom was sort of leaning to the left there. I had to get one with the body leaning to the right, so that when I put them behind each other, that they are actually going to cover all the areas. All right, so sorry, I just need a sip of my water. So that's what I've done. Now people will ask me, I got these off Pinterest. If you want to see, I do have a couple of butterflies on Pinterest. So if you go to the link below to my account, you'll see, you'll get to my Pinterest account. There is a folder there called butterflies. So there are quite a few in there that I like to use. Right, so you can go and find that over there. Okay. Okay, so there we go. Now, what I did was, because I've placed this to make sure when I glue it that all the areas are covered properly, I want to now just place this where I think it needs to go, and I'm going to glue that in place there. I'm going to use my fine tip glue, and don't go overly close to the edge. Just do it about 1 millimeter away. Remember, you're going to sandwich this in between the acetate, so it is going to be held in place. I've gone a bit wild there with the glue. So you just want to go close to the edge, but not completely to the edge. I'm just going to move that in a bit because I don't want it to squeeze onto the acetate. All right, so now is the moment of truth. We've got our thing where we want it, our acetate, and now we can actually put this down. So press it down, and just, oh, there you see, now I've messed it. Rub the glue off. You don't want that. Okay, so there we have the first one. Now we know where it needs to go. It's easy now. Just flip this over, take your other one, and we're going to stick this onto the other. Okay, so now it's just a case of match it up close as you can, like that. Okay, so now that looks pretty good. And then you can just move it. There we go. Okay, not bad at all. Okay, so now we've got our little specimen sorted there. Now, you could even put a little label in there if you wanted to. Now, just give this a little polish on your leg. Take all the bits and pieces off like that. And now we're going to take our other card, which we're also polishing. And we are going to sandwich this in the middle like that. Okay. There we go. Oh, let's do it this way. There we go. So there we go. That's like that. That's going to keep it in place. All right. Now, what we want to do is, just before we take the next step, just run a bead of glue on the far edge of this. You're not going to see this, but it's just to keep them together while you are putting this inside. Okay, so we're not going to see that bit, hopefully. No, we're not. So there we go. Oh, one's gone a bit awry there. Okay, hopefully this is all right. I should have cut the acetate straighter before hand, so let that be a tip. And then all I'm going to do is very gently, is just put a little bit of distress ink, sprinkling over the edge there, so not very much at all. Now what we want to do is, if we open the side here like that, we've got an opening to put this in. Now it does get a bit tricky, but if you just hold this open with your one hand, run a bead of glue around the edge. So I'm going to try and, hopefully you can see, I'm running a bead of glue just close to the edge there. Not overly close, you don't want it to go in between, but so that when you put your acetate down, it is going to sit over there. And then the same, just a couple of drops on the edge of this acetate like this. If I can grip it with my other hand. Okay, so we've got a few drops on there. We've got that bit going on there. So now what we want to do is, we want to just place it where it needs to go. Okay, so you've got a little bit of lead time just to get it all in place, and there we have it. Okay, there we go. Okay, it needs a bit of a polish, but it's just external fluff that's on there. So you can see now, if I close that up, that's pretty well positioned, more or less. Pretty happy with that. Okay, so let's put on the lid here. So what I'm going to do quickly, I'm going to run to my sewing machine, and I'm going to just stitch like I did on the other one, around here once or twice. I think I did it twice. And I will also stitch around the edges of this as well. Okay, so there you can see I've done it. I've stitched around there twice, and I've stitched on these three sides here. Okay, so that's all done, and that stitches that side as well, obviously. Okay, so now I think what we'll do is we'll carry on finishing off the rest of the envelope before I carry on with that. So we've got that bit sorted. We want to put on the pocket here, so we'll get to that. And then we also want to do our envelope over here. Now the envelope's pretty easy. We've printed on two sides like that, so that's great. And now what we want to do is we just want to fold that in place. So it's a case of working out where exactly we want to do it. Now, for me, I decided that this would be a good place to fold it. And I don't need to go right to the bottom, because as I said, you're going to have a bit of a fabric binding on here, or edging. And then it's just a case of, so remove that like that, and then we'll have a little bit of a flap like that. Okay, so you'll see it's going to fit on the back there, and I'm quite happy with that. I just want to make sure I've got this straight. So there, it's a slightly bit skew, so I thought so. So it doesn't matter, we'll just get that straight. So just line it up on my board. get that like that. There we go. Okay, so that's the size of the envelope, and it fits close to the top there. And you can see we've got a gap, but as I said, you're going to have some fabric going over there. So I'm quite happy with that. So just going to do a couple of things on here quickly. Now, you can round the corners, which I will do. But I am going to stitch the envelope in place first. Just putting a bit of stress ink on it. Like that. Okay, so I'm quite happy with that. And maybe a bit over here. Alright, so there's everything ready for that. So I will round the corners, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to run upstairs and first of all just sew a line there. And what I did was with this one, I'm sort of loving my French script at the moment, so I just put on a bit there. It also gives a little bit of extra strength as well with the paper. So I'm going to just stitch on a strip of this, which is just a piece of manuscript that I had. I'm going to put that and sew that on across there. So that's the first thing. And then once I've sewn that, I'll put it together like that. And then I will sew right around the perimeter there. Okay, so I will do that quickly and I will be back here right after. Okay, I'm back. So you can see I've stitched a little strip on there first, then I've stitched all the way around to finish off that envelope. So that's going to go and stick down there. If you wanted to, you could stick it on 3 sides and have an extra tuck spot. If you left this bit open, you could have another place for a journal card in there, but I'm going to stick the whole thing down. So I'm going to do that quickly. I did round the corners at the top there, so I'm quite happy with how it's turned out. These papers are so pretty. Not much needs to be done. I am going to put a little label on and bits and bobs. So now, and this is the right side, we want to get that close to the top as we can. Just make sure that I've got it where I want it, pretty much. Yeah. And okay, so that's fine. Quite happy with that. And then what I did was here, I'll come and finish that off in a minute. While it's still nice and flat, I want to just finish off the pocket. So the pocket, I've done the same thing. I've sewn around it. I've stuck this on. You don't need to sew it. It's just what I like to do. You know that, right? Hold it on there. I want it on these 3 sides. Abby's stuck on the sofa there, or the armchair. She's got a perfect spot in the sun. She's watching the birds, and the minute I open that door, she'll be flying over there to sort all the little poor weeny birds out, little blue tits and robins and things. So I don't let her out because I feed the birds and I like them there. But she will run there straight away. Like, she's too slow to ever catch them, so otherwise I wouldn't let her out. But it does amuse me. Right, so that's fine. I love those, beautiful. And now we're going to finish off our envelope quickly. So what I did was I had some ruffle. This is beautiful fabric. It's Liberty from of London, and this is called Pink Capel, I think. And it's my favorite. So I've made a little thin, very thin ruffle. This is lovely thin fabric, so it doesn't give any bulk. And then I'm going to just stick that across there like that. So we just want to clip that off there like that. And should have used my Fabri-Tac, but hey ho, you can use double-sided glue. I'm going to use my finger in a minute just to smooth this out. Hopefully that's going to work. And then we want to just stick that down like that. Because the fabric's so thin, I don't want it to come through on there. Oh, that's done the job. Great. Just need a scrap piece here quickly just to wipe the residue off on my finger. Right. Okay, so we've got that all sorted. Okay, so all I did here was I took one of the little labels. So this is also chapter 1 label, which I'm loving these colors. Loving them, ladies. Right up my street. Okay, so that's going to go there. I think it's so beautiful. I don't want to really cover much. And I didn't even really need to put a little label on these pages. They're so pretty. But we will, nevertheless. I'm going to put it in the corner here, just like that. And then it's just a case of putting a little piece of my French manuscript, which I'm tearing apart word by word, literally. And I'm going to just stick that on there because I just love my French manuscript. Heaven knows what I'm sticking down, because I only did 1 year of French when I was 12. So that's long gone, 40 odd years ago. Right, so we'll have that there. And I'm quite happy with that. That's going to do me because I'm going to put that binding, that sort of edging on as well. So that's all done. We're going to finish off a bit here, so let's do that. So what I'm going to do here is, as I said to you, I've made a little cluster with all my scraps and sewn a button on it. I'm going to use that. And then what I've done is I've taken more scraps and stuck them onto a little tag I've made here. And I'm going to stick that at the top over there. But what I'm going to do before that is put on the binding. So let's get on with that, because then I can finish off everything else. So just going to measure that there. Give that a little notch and pull that off. There we go. Pull those bits off. Okay, so there we have it. That's perfect. And then again, just going to put on a very thin amount of glue here. Very thin, so we want that halfway, like that. Oh, it's skew. Oh, it sets so quickly, you've got to be so careful, so quick. All right, and then we'll just turn that around. Oh, I don't think I did that very well. Oh, that's fine. Okay, so now we'll do this side, and I think I'm gonna just trim this a bit. It's just, which I didn't really want to trim it because I quite like the ruffled edge, but I don't want it quite that wide. I thought I had done it a little bit thinner. So there we go. Okay, and then I'm going to just stick this down over here. So I'm going to do this directly on here, ever so little. That's what this nozzle is good for. Okay, and then we're just going to cover that over there. Like that. Now you can, if you want, open this up and stitch down there, but I'm not going to do that. You know, you can open it up and then give it a stitch line on each side if you want. Okay, so there we go. That's everything there. And now I just want to finish this off. So I'm just going to put a touch over there. Now, as I said to you, I had this little tag, which is just a little scrap I've cut into a tag with one of my die cuts, but you can do it by hand. You don't need a die cut to make these tags. And then I'm just going to stick that over here at the top. Take my little cluster and put some more glue on it. I like making these from all the scraps. Stick that over there like that. There we go. And then I'm going to put 2 die cuts on here. You know that I love my Tim Holtz wildflowers. So I've cut this out of a scrap of wallpaper. So it's got the lovely muted pink tones. I'm going to drape this over there somehow. And then I've got a little lavender one as well, also part of the same collection. And so I'm going to put the pink one on first. So it's very floppy, but it'll do the job. Yeah, I'm loving this. I'm going to make a whole bunch of these, I think, because as I said to you, I was so impressed. I had just about nothing left. One little square, which is easily made into a little card to go in here. So really, it was a great relief to have nothing adding to the scrap pile, as you can all relate to. So we're going to just drape that over, bring it over this way a bit, and then drape it over that way. I quite like that. So there we go. And then we just want to take this lavender bit, like that. Okay, and then we're going to just, how do I want that? Do I want it that way? Do I want it? Just like that. Okay, looking good. And then I just took a little bit of the script washi, tore a bit off like that. And you do need to put, because this is going in part on some fabric, the one side won't stick, so just putting a little bit of glue to go on the fabric there, and then there we go. So there we've got our cover all completed, and that looks so pretty. Look, you can see the detail coming through. All right, so on the back we've got everything completed there. I'm just checking. Yep. Now we just want to finish off over here, which is really quick now. Okay, so what I did was I took another piece of this that was the larger piece on here, and I made that into a tag. And as you can see, if I lift this up, it's another scrap that was remaining. I took one of the stamps from the chapter 1 stamp collection, printed it out. It was on the bigger sheet. I've taken a little scrap of the fabric I've used, a little piece of that French script, and then just a cutout from one of my books and one of these die cuts. So I've used all of the scraps from the actual kit, and I love that tag. It's so pretty. So that's going to go in there. So I didn't put anything else on there. And then over here, I took one of those journal cards that I showed you earlier from the sheet, put it onto some recycled card from packaging, and stitched around that with one of my whale tail punches, which I've cut out of the scraps as well, as I showed you. So that then goes into this section over here. Okay, so the only scrap remaining now is this square over here and this piece over here. That's it. Now that's easily used. You can make yourself another little card or tag just to slot in behind here if you like, or to go into this envelope over here. I just put in these cards, long sheet. I've used this one now, I think. I cut out these two and put them in the envelope. So you could do that. It's part of the kit, or you can make another card and slot that in over there using this side and that side of that, or this side of the paper, and maybe one or two words or another stamp or something else, and put that in there. And I promise you, the only scraps you're then going to have are these, which are going in the bin. And for me, that's quite something. So I was quite happy with how that all turned out. There's nothing here that I can't utilize. So how awesome is that? Very little remaining out of those 2 sheets of paper. We've used it all in this together with an envelope. So ladies, I hope you've enjoyed this. I really like how these have turned out. As I said to you, very pretty. I just love it. And I think these are great additions to journals. So there we have exciting envelopes number 15. I hope you've enjoyed it. Go give it a go. Share it with me on Instagram, Facebook, or wherever it is that you're able to share. I'd love to see what you guys do. You know that. Leave a message. You know I always get back to you. And it's been fun. For those of you in the UK, have a lovely long bank weekend holiday. And for everyone else, enjoy your weekend. Go craft. Go and watch some YouTube. And I'll see you all very soon with the next video. Bye-bye now.